The 5 Ascetics. The beginning of a long path of austerity. According to the tradition, after Siddhartha learned from Alara, Kalama and Uddaka Ramaputta, he still had not found the complete end of suffering. He had experienced deep meditation and very subtle states of stillness. But he saw honestly that these states were not the final answer. So Siddhartha continued his journey. This time, he did not only follow the teachings of a master. He began to test a stricter path with his own body and mind. On this path, 5 ascetics came to practice beside him, and the tradition remembers this meeting as the beginning of a long period of severe practice. Today's story begins after Siddhartha left Uddaka Ramaputta and stood once again on the road of seeking. He had already learned much. He was not only a man who had left the pleasure of the palace. He had also entered deep concentration and touched refined states of meditation that many people would never reach. Many seekers might have stopped there. They might have said, "This is enough. I have found peace. I have reached a high place." But Siddhartha's question went deeper than peace. Aging still remained. Sickness still remained. Death still remained. The pain of losing those we love still remained. The quiet of meditation was precious. But it did not yet show him the complete ending of suffering. Siddhartha did not reject what he had learned. He did not look down on his teachers. He simply saw that the path was not finished. So he walked on. Perhaps he began to wonder whether the answer could be found by going in the opposite direction of palace life. If comfort and pleasure could not free the heart, maybe strict discipline could. If the body's desires kept people bound to the world, maybe the body had to be controlled, restrained, and pushed to its limit. This was a hard thought, but Siddhartha was not afraid of a difficult path. He wanted to know the truth for himself. According to the tradition, this was the time when Siddhartha began moving toward a more severe form of practice. He ate less. He rested less. He turned away from comfort more strongly. He began to treat the body not as something to decorate or protect, but as something to train. To others, this may have looked harsh. But for Siddhartha, it was an experiment made with great seriousness. He was not seeking pain for its own sake. He was searching for a way beyond pain. Around this time, 5 ascetics came to practice with him. The tradition remembers them as the group of 5 who stayed near Siddhartha during the years of severe practice. They must have seen something unusual in him. He had left royal life behind. He had not stayed with respected teachers. Even after reaching high meditative states, he was not satisfied with praise, honor, or peaceful experience. He seemed like a person who would not stop until he found the deepest answer. To the 5 ascetics, Siddhartha may have looked like someone destined for a great awakening. They may have believed that if anyone could reach the final truth through strict practice, it would be him. His concentration was deep. His determination was quiet but strong. His eyes may have carried the weight of a question that ordinary comfort could no longer silence. So they stayed near him. They did not gather around him for an easy life. This was not a group formed around joy, music, or celebration. It was a small company of seekers entering silence, hunger, endurance, and discipline. Forest paths, quiet groves, dry earth, and long days of practice became their world. They ate little, spoke little, and tried to turn away from the ordinary desires that pull the heart outward. To people outside the path, their life may have looked like suffering. But to them, it may have seemed like the only honest way left. If the world is filled with aging, sickness, death, and sorrow, then what kind of practice is strong enough to break through it? If gentle peace was not yet the final answer, perhaps a sharper and more difficult path had to be walked. Siddhartha was no longer simply a student sitting at the feet of a teacher. He was becoming a seeker who tested the path directly. The 5 ascetics became companions in that difficult experiment. They watched him, learned from his determination, and shared the long silence of practice with him. Each of them may have carried his own hope, his own fear, and his own reason for seeking freedom. Yet for a time, they were joined by the same belief that beyond ordinary life, beyond comfort, beyond the body's demands, there might be a door to liberation. But the tradition also lets us feel a quiet question beneath this story. Could the body be forced into truth? Could suffering be ended by creating more suffering? Could freedom be found by pushing life to the edge? At this moment, Siddhartha did not yet know the answer. He had not yet discovered the middle way. He had not yet received the offering from Sujata. He had not yet sat beneath the Bodhi tree. The long path of austerity was only beginning. The 5 ascetics believed in him, and he himself was ready to test this severe path to its very end. This is part of what makes the story deeply human. Siddhartha did not jump straight from palace life to awakening. He searched. He learned. He tried. He reached high states and moved beyond them. He entered difficult practices and tested them with his whole being. His journey was not a simple straight line. It was a long movement through hope, discipline, effort, and honest doubt. The 5 ascetics walking beside him show us another part of the path. Sometimes, a person's search becomes visible to others. Others see the seriousness of that search and choose to walk nearby. But even when people walk together, each heart still has to face its own question. No one can eat hunger for another person. No one can sit in silence for another person. No one can find truth in place of another person. Still, companionship can give shape to a difficult time. The 5 ascetics stood near Siddhartha at the beginning of a long and severe period. They became witnesses to his effort. They saw his discipline deepen. They saw him move farther and farther from comfort. In their eyes, this may have looked like the road to final awakening. But the story has not yet reached its turning point. For now, Siddhartha and the 5 ascetics step into the long shadow of austerity. The path ahead will be difficult. The body will grow weak. The question will grow sharper. And one day, Siddhartha will have to see whether this extreme path truly leads to freedom, or whether another way must be found. This is how the story of Siddhartha meeting the 5 ascetics quietly comes to a close. It reminds us that a serious search often begins before we know whether the path is right. Sometimes we walk because the question in the heart will not let us stay still. Sometimes we endure because we cannot yet see another way. There are times in our own lives when we also follow a difficult road, hoping it will lead us to peace. We may not yet know whether that road is the final answer. But if we can remain honest, even our mistaken paths may teach us something important. May the deep questions within us lead not only to effort, but also to wisdom, compassion, and peace.